Yada yada.
Yada what?
Yada yada yada.
What's up, everybody? This is Yada Yada episode 4. I can't believe we've made it this far.
Quattro. I was looking at our views the other day. We've got like 20 views on
Do we really? Already?
Spotify and Apple Pod.
There's probably people
spread
thinking
the
it's just a
word.
Seinfeld podcast, and they're like, what the crap are these guys talking about?
No. You just get dived in and it turns into a rabbit hole real quick.
Yeah, here with me as always is Ty Bryant. How's it going?
It's going. Today was the last day of school for students that I teach. And
Summer break.
Let me tell you, there is not. This has got to be a later topic, but I can't think of a better feeling or a better day than the last day of school going into summer break. It is just the most exhilarating, non-stressful, happy day of the year. And today was that day. So I'm in a good mood and I'm ready to talk some podcast topics.
Nice. Does it feel the same as a teacher?
Oh, it's a million times better as a teacher. I'm just speaking the truth. And all the teachers out there that are listening to this, I know you just laughed when I said that because you know it's true. Because it's just and students, everybody's tired of everybody at this point of the year, and it's not a secret. Like, students are sick of teachers, teachers are sick of students. They need to leave and they need to go mature for a couple of months and then come back and we'll see you again. But I'm going to enjoy my time off, let me tell you. It's going to be a great 2 months.
Man, well, I just got back. Speaking of exciting stuff to talk about, I just got back from Yellowstone National Park. In fact, I just got back about an hour ago. Just got back home. So
hashtag yada yada is life. There's no days
yada yada is
here.
life. This is what a dedicated podcaster sounds like, everybody.
Yeah.
This voice right here.
It's not for everybody, let me tell you.
No, it's not for the faint of heart.
It's a grind. Tell us about Yellowstone. What?
Yeah, I think I will.
I hear they got some geysers over there.
Oh, they got it's insane. The landscape of that place is crazy. First of all, it's just super huge. It's like it's way larger than I anticipated because I didn't do a whole lot of research going into it. Just because, shout out to my friend Elena, and well, she's been my wife's best friend since like high school, which kind of makes her.
I had a friend that.
Yeah, so it kind of makes her, my friend since high school as well. But but yeah, she is a park ranger at Yellowstone, and they are like legit federal officers. Like they're real cops, and yeah. So don't mess with the park rangers. But anyway, I didn't do a whole lot of research just because she was a park ranger there, and we were staying with her. And she was kind of our guide for the whole week. We stayed there. We were there for 5 full days. Yeah, and she was our guide pretty much every day. She was driving us around the whole park, which it's a lot of driving. So anybody who's thinking about going to Yellowstone, just be prepared. It's a lot of being in the car for hours on end, but it's worth it because the stuff you're looking at out your car window is insane.
So it's a national park, right?
It's a national park. It's the largest national park in the United States, I believe. Maybe in the world. I'd have to double check that, but definitely in the United States. It's also the first national park in the world. It was the first one.
Oh, the first ever, huh?
Yeah. And I have before the chat blows us up. No, I haven't seen the TV show. So if you have any questions or whatever, I don't have a frame of reference from the TV show Yellowstone.
Yeah.
But I should watch it now that I've actually seen the park.
I watched the first season of Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And this kind of sneaks into our topic today, but the first season was good. I don't know why it's called Yellowstone. It doesn't take place in the national park. It's based on a fictional family that
Really? It's
owns a bunch of
done,
land.
right? So
Yeah,
it's
and
not
now they own land in Montana, and they have this big ranch, and they get into fights with people and politics and all this stuff. I stopped watching after season one just because it was kind of like a um, cowboy soap opera. It
yeah,
was basically the days of our lives and but cowboy world,
I got
and
you.
so it got really um, taxing on me. I guess like very stressed all the time, and there's always a bunch of drama, and never anything good happens, and kind of funny at times. That the characters kind of had some funny times, but I don't know. I lost interest
Kind of
after
felt like
season one.
drama for drama's sake at some
Yeah,
point.
and
Dressed
so
up
I was like,
dressed up as cowboys. Yeah,
yeah, this isn't really for me.
yeah. I
But
mean,
other people really like it, and they've had
they do.
spinoffs on it. So
They do.
obviously, it's a popular show.
There are some cool spin-offs that I've heard of that I want to watch. With one, I know one with Harrison Ford. I think it's 1923. That I should probably check out. Just being a big
Yeah,
Harrison Ford fan. But
1923. Yep.
yeah. But I have a little article ready for me today. I thought I'd just go through some 10 cool facts about Yellowstone.
Ooh, I'm ready.
Yeah. So number one, and this goes back to how big it is. Yellowstone encompasses 3,472 square miles, which is about this is more than 2 million acres.
That's a lot
So
of land.
it's a lot. It's a lot to see, and we didn't even see a fraction of the whole place because it's just that big. I mean, we had 5 full days there, and we didn't even see some whole wings of the park. So,
Yeah, right.
but yeah, but that makes it larger than Rhode Island and Delaware combined. So, all
Get you
you,
some Rhode Island.
yeah, and
Get
Delaware.
bigger.
Yeah, but number two, there are more than 10,000 hydrothermal features in Yellowstone.
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
those hydrothermal
Yeah,
features.
so that includes like geysers, hot springs, mud pots,
Volcano.
mud pots and fumaroles, which is just like little vents in the earth. And
Ah,
I did see all four of those things. Mud pots was weird. It was just like mud but bubbling.
hmm,
So that was kind of cool. Geysers were cool.
interesting.
I got to see, yeah, everybody sees Old Faithful because it's the most predictable one. Everyone knows, like, they can tell when it's going to go off, like, within 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And I think it goes off, like, once an hour, something like that, or once every 2 hours.
Hmm.
But right when we got to the Old Faithful site where we were going to watch it, Beehive, which is another geyser that's actually bigger, it shoots higher than Old Faithful. It starts going off. The guy was like, "Hey, there's like 30." The announcer comes over like the intercom, and he's like, "Hey, 30 minutes or 30 seconds, and Beehive's about to go off." It's like I guess they have monitors or something like that,
Yeah.
researchers or something. Anyway, so that was really crazy to see, and that only goes off like once a day. So we just happened to be there when it was going off,
Oh, nice.
and and I guess they can't tell when it's going to go off every day because there wasn't a crowd of people there,
Right.
or I figured a bunch of people would be there if they could.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got to see all of those thermal features. That was a good time. Yellowstone is home to more than 500 active geysers, which
Hmm.
makes it more. It's home to more than half of the world's geysers. So that's
Wow.
pretty crazy. Just water spraying out of the earth. And I also read while I was there that it's being heated up by like liquid magma from like the center of the earth, and it just heats up this water and it just explodes, which is crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it is like some of the like there were some runoffs like in the road where like there was some guy. It was like maybe a hot spring or a geyser that was going off. But it was like some of the water would run off into the road, and you could like go like feel the water, and it feels like hot bath water. Like it's
Yeah, I
crazy.
bet.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yellowstone Lake has, and I didn't get to see Yellowstone Lake. I got to see a bunch of different ones, but I don't think we went to Yellowstone Lake. But it has 131 square miles of surface area and 141 miles of shoreline, which makes it. It's also the largest high elevation lake in North America, which is pretty cool. We didn't get to
So it
Lake.
has more surface area. No, it has less surface area than shoreline.
Right. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. But yeah, we didn't get to the lake country area just because there's tons of stuff, but we
Yeah,
did get
right.
to see a lot of other stuff. Yellowstone is home to the largest concentration of mammals in the lower 48 states, which is like 67 different species of animals. And I got to see tons of those. We saw grizzly. We had like 30 bear sightings. Just wild
Nice.
grizzlies walking around, and black bears and brown bears. And like there was some where I mean we were probably within, I don't know, definitely within 100 yards, maybe 50 yards of these bears. I mean in our
Wow.
cars, like from the road, they're just like off the road 50 yards,
Yeah.
just chilling with their cubs, which is
And so
crazy.
this is their like national parks. That's their home. Like,
It's like their natural habitat. Like there's
yeah, you
no,
you stop when they want to do something. You stop and let them do whatever they want to do
yeah, like
because
they
you're
I
in
mean
their territory.
yeah, like nature's taking its course out there. Like they
Yeah.
don't interfere with anything unless a bear like gets too friendly, and Elena was explaining this to me, unless a bear gets too like familiar with people, like if it starts going into towns or getting up like even if it gets up near cars, like they'll just send the traffic away. Like there's a
Right.
bear right here, everyone clear out,
Yeah.
like we're in their home, you know what I mean?
Right. Very interesting.
Um but yeah, it's crazy. And also, this is pretty cool. We were going up to see one of the, I think it's a hot spring, but it's called Grand Prismatic. It's like this huge, super, like the blue. It looks like swimming pool blue. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy, and there's just steam coming out of it. And we were going up to see it on this hike, one of the days, and we stopped halfway through because there was a state trooper on duty. And they were like, yeah, they told us, yeah, we might have to shut down the trail because there's a bear on it up here. And so eventually, like to scare the bears off, what they do is they have like this. I mean, it looks like it's an orange shotgun basically,
Yeah.
but it fires a firecracker round, I think is what they called it. Anyway, like you hear the first shot, and you're like, well, that didn't do anything. And then about 5 seconds later, you hear like a little firecracker explosion,
Well,
and it's supposed to like scare them off. And then if it gets even more aggressive after that, then I think they like hit them with like rubber bullets or something like that.
interesting.
So, but yeah, pretty crazy to see just a officer firing firecrackers at bears. Never seen
Yeah,
that
I
before.
didn't know that.
Let's see, 285 species of birds in
Ooh.
Yellowstone.
A little fun fact about me. As I
Yeah,
get older, I really like birds.
you're just a bird watcher, an
I,
old
I
man bird
really
watcher.
I sit on my back porch every morning. This is not a lie. Every morning, and I listen and watch for birds. I don't. I
Every
guess I'm
morning,
like
you're just out there.
8,000 years old or something, but I don't have binoculars or anything
I was
like
about to
that.
say, if you got the binoculars, that's
Yeah,
the
I'm
final
not
nail in
quite
the
there
coffin
yet.
there.
My birthday's coming up, so people in the chat, if you want to send me some binoculars for my bird watching hobby, be more than welcome to. But we got blue jays around here.
Hey,
Blue jays are the most beautiful bird I've ever seen in my life. I absolutely love blue jays. We got some cardinals, got a couple of orioles, little orange on the belly.
Orioles. Okay,
Yeah, and so I really enjoy. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy watching birds. So maybe I need to take a trip to Yellowstone
you
to
should.
catch some birds.
There's tons of them. Get
See any
yourself.
bald eagles?
There was one eagle that we saw.
Nice,
We saw some
America.
hawks. Yeah, yeah. We saw some hawks. There was some. There's this bird called an osprey, which I didn't get to see the whole bird, so I don't know exactly what it looks like. But they're building these huge nests, and I saw the little like it has like a white head that'll poke out of the nest every once in a while.
Hmm.
And so I got to see its head, but they're kind of a big deal right now, the osprey. So
Osprey.
yeah,
Interesting.
I need to look them up and see what the deal is there. But
Yeah, we
yeah,
might
and
have
there's
to have
and
them on the pod at some point.
yeah, there's also some. We saw a lot of cranes
Oh yeah.
walking around, a bunch of cranes. Let's see here. There are more than 1,800 known archaeological sites within the park. People just finding, or the teams are finding like arrowheads and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see here. About 290 waterfalls, which I did get to see some of those, which was really cool. Got to be
They
up pretty up
sound like
close
me
to
a
it.
good waterfall too.
Oh, it's great. There's one in Yellowstone. I think it's called the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone, and
Hmm.
then in like right dead center is this huge waterfall, and it's just like this. When the sun hits it, it's just completely golden. I mean, it looks yellow, which is apt. But
Interesting.
yeah, pretty cool. Probably the best view of nature that I've had. Other than like summiting a 14er, like that's about as
Yeah.
good as it gets, you know?
It's hard to top the, pun intended, the top of a mountain.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It also houses more than 720,000 museum items, including 30 historical vehicles, millions of archived documents, and more than 20,000 books. And
Vehicles.
yeah, yeah.
Wait,
There's a
they're
there's a
housed in Yellowstone?
yeah, like there's a
Or
cool
they found
museum.
them in Yellowstone?
No, they're housed. Like there's a
Oh.
museum there with a bunch of
Oh, okay.
cool stuff like that. They also repurpose, like there's some cool buses that drive through Yellowstone, and they look
Uh,
like old, like I don't know if they look like old school buses or what, but they look super retro, and they'll like drive people around, you know, like shuttles type of thing. But it's pretty sweet.
Interesting.
Let's see, last one, and there are approximately 1,000 miles of hiking trails in
Ooh,
Yellowstone.
pass.
Yeah. We did about I don't know 5. We did about 5 miles,
Yeah,
5-10
that's
miles.
good
Not like
enough.
yeah. We'll
Let's
catch
get back in the
other-
car.
We'll catch the other 900 miles at some point.
So, a few years ago, maybe it was a few years ago, but recently enough for me to remember, there was a bad storm, hurricane, maybe,
Mm.
or
Yeah.
tornado, or that really affected Yellowstone. I thought, like the roads in and out. Is
It
that
did.
still
Yeah, she was
that's still a thing?
Elena, the park ranger that was letting us stay with her. She was telling us that it was like a 500-year flood. So it's so bad.
Flood. That's what it
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
yeah, it only happens every like 500 years. Like it was a crazy flood like that.
Yeah.
And we were able. She was able to point out to us a lot of the fallout, like just where some of the landscape, like on the road and stuff, and like just like on the sides of some hills, had just caved in, like trees
Yeah.
just on the ground. It's crazy. You can still
Yeah.
see a lot of the fallout from that flood. But yeah,
Interesting. Because I
it was.
remember seeing
Mhm.
that like on Twitter and in the news and stuff, like it'll take years to recover, and one of the main areas of Yellowstone is like washed out by a river and things like that. So
Yeah, and
interesting.
that was her first year on the job when that happened. It was like
Oh, really?
first year being
Oh,
trained as
get thrown
as
into the fire.
yeah, no kidding. I bet that was crazy. But
Wow.
no, it was a crazy trip, and I also will say if you haven't read The Lord of the Rings
Shout out.
while yeah, if you haven't read The Lord of the Rings while chilling on a park ranger's front porch just surrounded by mountains, you know, maybe smoking a pipe, it's a pretty good experience. So I highly recommend that as well.
Gonna have to put that on my bucket list.
There you go.
A little farther down my bucket list, but I'll put it on there at least. All right, well, let me tell you, there's something happened while you were in Yellowstone that I cannot wait to share with you. So, in New Orleans, Louisiana,
Okay.
there is a prison. And inside of this prison, 10 inmates have escaped.
10 inmates from a
10 inmates have
Louisiana
escaped.
state prison
Yes.
have escaped.
So, how, you might ask? They removed the toilet from the wall and they smuggled through a little hole in the wall of the prison. There is CTV security camera footage of them running out of the prison, like sprinting and jumping off this ledge and just taking off into the dark. And it is
Wow.
one of the funniest things. And it doesn't stop there. So apparently it was an inside job. One of the maintenance workers or janitors or whatever there is in the
Some
prisons.
Shawshank stuff going on in that.
Yeah.
movie.
So he apparently he's saying he was threatened by violence, which I guess I could understand that with prisoners, but
Mm.
he turned the water off in that cell or around in that cell block, whatever area that is.
Yeah.
Because when they removed that toilet, it would have caused flooding because the water would have went everywhere. So he turned the water off, and this is how they escaped. Now, these inmates are not very smart. I'm just gonna say that they are not the smartest people you would see running around New Orleans, Louisiana. So on their cell wall, This is just the start of the not smartness. On the cell wall above the toilet, there's pictures. You can go look these pictures up, and you can find the video of them escaping.
Yeah.
On the cell wall above the toilet, how they got pencils and markers, I don't know, but they wrote "Too easy, LOL." And it doesn't stop there. The too easy, instead of TOO, they just put TO.
All right.
Too easy, LOL. Yeah. And then they put we innocent.
We innocent.
Next to too easy, LOL, they put we innocent. Even though they just escaped from prison, and there's video of them showing that. So obviously you're not innocent.
Right.
Well, they're not still escaped. There's 5 that have been captured. So
okay.
2 of them, one of them was found on a bus stop asleep, and somebody was videoing him sleeping on a bus stop, sent it to the police, got a $10,000 reward for turning him in.
That's quite the day.
Like, you're just walking around New Orleans and you see this person on a bus stop dead asleep. You're like, oh, I've seen you on Twitter.
Right.
You're one of those prisoners. You get 10 grand.
Insane. Wow.
Yeah. Well, the next one, as soon as they get out, like that night, they escape during the night. And that night, this other prisoner goes on Instagram Live and is videoing himself and other prisoners celebrating their escape around New Orleans. And like not too long after that, that guy was obviously captured, because when you're on live, you can find the social media feed, and you can figure out where they're at and all this stuff. Obviously, this prisoner didn't think about that. He was just so excited. His first thought was, I got to go on Instagram Live and everybody's got to hear about this.
I mean, I guess if you pull something off like that, I guess the first thought is just that you're invincible.
Yeah, I mean, you got to let the people know.
Right.
You got to let the internet know that I just escaped from prison. I'm probably going back here in a few minutes because they're going to find me pretty quick, but I did it. Yeah. Too easy, LOL. It was just, I mean, so there's still 5. The other 3, I'm not sure how they were captured or how they got found, but apparently there's still 5 at-large inmates roaming the streets of New Orleans. So anybody in the chat who's headed to New Orleans, keep your eyes peeled, because you might find one. You might be in for a nice little reward. Yeah, check the bus stops. That one guy got $10,000. So check your city buses. Don't just ignore the people who are asleep on the city bus stop. They might be escaped inmates, and you might be in for a hefty paycheck.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it was quite the story when I heard, some people escaped from prison. I feel like that happens more often than not. Maybe it doesn't, but I feel like I hear that pretty often. And I see like road signs every once in a while, like, don't pick up hitchhikers, they're inmates, or something like that on the road.
That is crazy.
Maybe I don't want to be driving through this area right now. But
yeah, no kidding. I remember watching like the Ted Bundy documentary. Granted, this has been a while, but I remember watching the Ted Bundy documentary, and he just jumps out like a prison library window and escapes. Yeah. I'm like, this is...
Well, and especially when you have inside help. Yeah. When you have inside help, I feel like it's not that hard. Like, they're going to help you do things that you had planned doing, and nobody's going to know because of that. They didn't know. The prison didn't find out until 8:30 the next morning. So they escaped that night. Probably, maybe early in the morning. Yeah. And they didn't know until 8:30 a.m. When they were doing just a normal roll call. Like, they were checking attendance, like at a school. And nobody said here when they called their name. And then they go to their cell, and there's a giant hole in the wall with "Too easy" written above it. So that's when they found out. So nobody even knew until they called their name, and nobody said anything. So anyway, check it out in New Orleans if you're going. Number 1, look for some escaped inmates before you enjoy some Cajun food.
Steele and Mia went there not too long ago. They should have. My brother. They should have waited a couple months.
Yeah. Well, we went there a couple of years ago for the Final Four.
Oh yeah, that's right.
To watch North Carolina and Kansas. Yeah. So, I side note, I probably won't go back to New Orleans. It's
Not
a
a fan.
very I'm glad I went once, but it's quite a disgusting city in my opinion.
Mm,
Like think of San Antonio. Like you've been to San Antonio.
I
San
have.
Antonio like times 10. San
Mm,
Antonio's real humid and there's some grossness around. You got the Riverwalk that has nice parts but also kind of gross parts. New Orleans is all gross to me. Like it's
oof.
hot, it's humid, there's different smells and different people from all walks of life that I don't really
Yeah.
want to be around on a
The
vacation. So
the swampy weather is what gets me the most, I think. Like that just like where you just nonstop sweating. Like I don't know if I could do that.
yeah, it's well, and we got there early, like the game's at 7, 8, whatever,
Yeah.
national championship. We get there at 4 thinking, hey, let's walk around New Orleans. Like let's go out to eat. Let's,
Yeah.
do some New Orleans touristy things. And we walk around and we're like, I don't really even have an appetite anymore. Like it's
Mm,
just so hot and swampy and gross and
yeah.
I don't know. So probably won't go back to New Orleans, but I'm glad I went one time.
There you go.
Um, Anybody from New Orleans that's listening, no offense, but um, not going back if I can help it. Um, all right, so let's get on to our main topic. In episode 2, for those of you that haven't listened, go back and listen to episode 2. I got hit by Jordan Spieth's tee shot, and I cover that. I'm recovering well, let me tell you.
I
I've
was
got
gonna
a
ask.
nice little scar right here on my left shoulder that I show in episode 2. So go back and watch that. Go back and listen to that. But the main topic of lesson 2 was top 10 movies that we would take on a desert island if we were stuck. And we kind of hinted at it in episode 1. We were gonna continue on with that series, and so this episode we're gonna go down to 5, but we're gonna cover the top 5 movies that, sorry, top 5 TV shows that we would take with us if we could to a desert island. Um, so let's do kind of what we did last time. Start at the top, or I guess the lowest ranking, the highest number,
Lowest. Yeah.
and go back and forth until we get to number 1. Mention your honorable mentions and
That'll work. Yeah,
um,
I was gonna rapid fire some honorable mentions as well. Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Let's
Okay,
start it
cool.
off.
All right, sweet. So for my honorable mentions, a couple. I probably have more honorable mentions than I should, but these first 2 honorable mentions are on here just because I have a lot of fond memories watching these with my wife. They're my wife's 2 favorite shows, which inherently means that they're probably the shows that I've spent the most hours watching in my life.
Right. Yep.
Even if they're not my, some of them are like I love to make fun of them, but also they get me sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
But that would be Friends, which I do enjoy. I do enjoy Friends, and also Vampire Diaries.
Oh, see, I was not expecting that, but okay.
I watched outrageous hours of Vampire Diaries on
Yeah.
in my living room with my wife.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking Grey's Anatomy. That's
Grey's
what I
Anatomy,
was.
yeah, we've ran through. She's ran through that once,
Yeah.
maybe twice, but definitely Vampire Diaries and Friends. Those are the top 2 that are on repeat. At least
Yeah.
before we had our daughter, those were those were on repeat a lot.
Yeah.
I also have The Office as an honorable mention.
Oh my gosh.
I figured that one would be talked
Let's
about a
take
bit.
a pause, listeners. Listeners, for those of
Right.
you that don't know, there's not really like, this is an opinion based conversation,
Mhm.
and opinions are never wrong, but that opinion right there is wrong. The Office is not an honorable mention. It's by far the top 5. When I'm picking TV shows, it's got to be in the top 5. So
It's
that's
great.
just
It's
blasphemy,
it's good
as
old. It's
Stephen S. Smith would
entertaining,
say.
and I figured it'd be talked about later, on
Yeah.
top of somebody
Little
else's.
sneak peek into my top 5 right there.
There you go. I also have an animated show. One of the only 2 animated shows that made it into my honorable mentions / top 5. But it's called Over the Garden Wall. It's just a little. It's 1 season. It's like a mini series. It's on Cartoon Network. Elijah Wood plays one of the voices. It's just a cool little. If there's one show that like, or one movie or show or any kind of fiction that makes me think of the season fall, it's this. Over the Garden Wall.
Oh, the
So,
season like
yes.
autumn, summer, spring.
Right, autumn,
Okay,
so yeah, whatever, fall. So
gotcha.
whenever I think of like I have to watch this show every fall. It's like, 8 episodes or
Mhm.
something. Doesn't take too long. They're like, 20-minute episodes. Um,
Interesting.
yeah,
There's a movie called Over the Hedge.
Over the Hedge does exist.
Yeah.
Yep.
So kind of the same title there.
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
No other correlation probably whatsoever other than over the.
Right. I also have Stranger Things as an honorable mention as my fifth highest.
Some of the listeners are not going to be happy about that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's pretty darn popular. But and I do enjoy it. I just think that the season 2 kind of was a big dip for me. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I loved 1 and I think 4 might be my favorite season. It's like the tie between 1 and 4. But 2 and then 3 was a step up from 2, but 1 and 4 are really good, like great TV. And that's why it's on an honorable mention. But and then my next one, Louder Milk, great show on Netflix about a recovering alcoholic who teaches a Alcohol Anonymous class. He's like a counselor, yeah, for recovering addicts. And it's so hilarious. It's one of the funniest shows I've ever watched.
I was gonna ask, is it a comedy or is it a serious show?
No. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it can do both. Like, it dips into seriousness, but for the most part, it's just hilarious.
Louder Milk. I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, Louder Milk. You should give it a shot. Number 3, I have Shrinking. This is one that me and my wife both enjoy a lot.
It's an Apple TV one, right?
Apple TV's been. I've
had some pretty good ones out.
Stuff. Yeah, they have. I'm a big fan of what Apple TV's doing. But yeah, Shrinking is on there. And then I also have SpongeBob as an honorable mention. SpongeBob is such a maybe the show that I quote the most, just because it's really just like the first 2-3 seasons that I rewatch, but those first 2-3 seasons are pretty great, pretty hilarious.
Something else.
They basically just encapsulate my childhood and a lot of our friendship. So and then I also have Severance, another Apple TV.
Another Apple TV.
And this is a show I absolutely love. I binged the first season, but back when my wife was working night shifts. And then I eventually, about a year later, I convinced her to binge it, and then that way we could watch season 2 together. And it was, it's a great show. The only reason it's not in my top 5 is because it's still going, and so I don't know how it's going to end. But I do love it. So those are my honorable mentions.
Yeah, I've got a few of those. I included SpongeBob in my honorable mention. I can't make a list of TV shows and not include my favorite animated TV show.
Right.
And that is SpongeBob. So, like you said, so many the older I get, I relate to different characters. At one point I was probably more SpongeBob, but now I'm definitely Squidward / Mr. Krabs, because I'm a pretty cheap dude too.
Yeah.
And so I kind of relate to him too. But yeah, SpongeBob. I had Friends on there as well. Friends is one of those that I feel like I could rewatch.
I feel like Friends is a good like background TV show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. One that you didn't have, Drake and Josh. I got Drake and Josh.
That's
my honorable mention. Yeah, another Nickelodeon. SpongeBob's a Nickelodeon. Drake and Josh Nickelodeon.
Childhood
Just two of the classics that I grew up on. That it's part of my childhood. Or those two shows. I had Stranger Things as well. Here's a little fun fact: I've never watched it, but I know how popular it is. And so I figured I should probably put it on my honorable mentions, because if I don't, the viewers that listen to this and watch this, the tens of people that watch this are going to be emailing us and being very furious.
You got to play to the crowd. So
yeah, absolutely. So I did have Stranger Things as well. some of the ones you didn't have that you're not gonna like, because I feel like these you might disagree with this. I had Lost in my honorable mention.
Okay.
A couple of I feel like some TV shows go on too long, and I think Lost is one of those. I feel like if you're watching it now, it's like, okay, where is this going? What are they thinking? What are they thinking? And I feel like I'm thinking they don't know where this is going yet. They're gonna figure it out along the way. And I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I felt like. It had a confusing ending, weird, heaven, earth, alive, dead, what's going on, paralyzed, not paralyzed kind of stuff. So Lost is on my honorable mention
that's one of the only shows I've ever watched where it's like they actually don't know where it's going. Like they're writing this as they go along. Like this is the craziest thing ever.
I really think they were like, I don't know what this major thing is out in the woods.
Right.
Let's make it smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, you made it smoke?
A bunch of J.J. Abrams mystery boxes out there.
Yeah, you couldn't have made it like a dinosaur or a dragon or something like that. No, let's make it some smoke. So anyway, Lost is on my honorable mention. Ozark. Ozark is on Netflix. Ozark's on my honorable mention. The reason I don't have it in my top 5, it's way too dark. I watched it once. I don't know if I can watch it again because of how serious and how dark it is. Great show, and I'm glad I watched it once, but it's not like, let's go home and let's watch Ozark around, when we're eating dinner tonight.
Right,
I don't want to do that. So Ozark was on there. The Blacklist, another Netflix. Well, it came on to Netflix. It started out on actual TV. It's one of those, again, it's just too long. There's too many seasons. It's hard to keep up with what happened when, and it kind of COVID kind of hurt that show a little bit as well. I was kind of really big into it before COVID, and then COVID happened, and it had a weird episode with COVID, and then it kind of tried to continue, and I don't even know if they're still making them or not. But
really, so but just a little preview for what I thought was going to be on your list, because you've already said 3 of them in your honorable mentions. But I had SpongeBob, Lost, and The Blacklist all in your top 5. So
there you go.
Yeah,
I'm full of surprises.
Yeah, you are.
I learned. I learned from my movies.
Okay.
And I figured, okay, I got to put a little bit more thought into this. I got to try a little bit more.
There you go.
So you're going to be in for a treat when I give you my top 5. So yeah, The Blacklist. I also put True Detective. I don't know if you've seen True Detective, but
I sure have.
Season 1 of True Detective.
Correct.
Okay, with the one and only, the GOAT, Matthew McConaughey.
Yes.
That is like, it's right outside the top 5. There's not much better TV, in my opinion, than True Detective Season 1. And that might be just because, for those of you that have listened to Episode 2, Matthew McConaughey is my favorite actor probably of all time.
Right.
And so that might be just biased towards him. But True Detective Season 1, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Outside of the top 10 or outside of the top 5, because it's only that one season. There's more seasons that go with True Detective,
right? But
they're not as good as Season 1, and so it doesn't make the list.
Right.
And then another one is Band of Brothers. I feel like that's another one that could be very rewatchable. There's a little bit of patriotism there. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of seriousness there that I could rewatch over and over, but just didn't crack the top 5 for me. So
gotcha.
Those are kind of my honorable mentions. I'm sure there's more out there. If we're missing any, well, we'll get to our top 5, and then if we miss any out of the top 5, let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
Let us know. Drop a comment.
Band of Brothers is one that I have not seen, so I should check it out.
Check it out. HBO Max.
I watched the one
Max
with
or whatever it's called now.
Yeah, I think it's changing back to HBO Max. Did they announce that?
Yes, it was called HBO Max.
And then Max.
And then they changed it to Max. And now it's back to HBO Max. Because that makes sense. Somebody's getting paid to make these decisions. So.
Yeah, crazy.
All right, let's get into the top 5. I'll go first. I'll go first with number 5. Number 5 for me is an Apple TV. It's one of my Well, it is my favorite Apple TV show. There's some good ones out there, like you've said. Um, but number 5 for me, it's got a man named Jason Sudeikis who takes on a role of a soccer coach, um, formerly a football coach, American football coach, and he moves to Great Britain and inherits this failing soccer club, and becomes a soccer coach. Has absolutely, well, not absolutely nothing, but maybe 1% of the show is based on the sport of soccer. And that's kind of what hindered me at first. Like, I'm not going to watch this. I couldn't care less about the sport of soccer. But the more I watched it, the more I realized it's not just about soccer. It's about life. It's funny. It's got sad moments, happy moments. It's just a feel-good show that I think every person on earth needs to watch at least once in their life. So coming in at number 5 for me is Ted Lasso. I was asked in an interview one time if you could be one coach, if you had to pick one movie or one TV character of a coach that you want to be more like, who would it be? And I was not expecting that question in the interview, first of all. So I sat there for a second, and there's not very many, if you think, I don't know if we mentioned this in episode 2 or not, but there's not very many good sports movies out there, in my opinion. Most of them are pretty cheesy.
I would agree with that. Yep.
They're pretty cheesy. They're pretty predictable. Unless they're the true stories, the Miracles and the Glory Roads and Hoosiers and things like that. But so I sat there for a second and I thought, Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is a great human being who, in front of everybody, is a very likable person. But behind closed doors, he's dealing with his own mental health issues. He's going through a divorce with his wife, and he has a kid. He lives across the ocean from that kid and from that wife, and so he's going through his own stuff. It's just a great show. If you have an Apple TV subscription, you definitely need to check out Ted Lasso if you haven't already. And if you don't, get a free trial for a week or a month and binge it as fast as you possibly can, because it's one of the best shows of all time, in my opinion.
It's one of and I should have put this in my honorable mention because I do love the show. But it's one of the few shows that I think of where, like, almost every episode I feel like I cry and then I'm dying laughing. But in all in the span of like an hour, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
and that could be a happy cry. You could be really happy for one of the characters, or you could be, feeling sad for one of the characters, feeling sympathy for them. So yeah, it's a great show. You definitely need to check it out if you haven't already.
Very great show. All right. My number 5 is pretty close to home here on the Yada Yada podcast. My number 5 is Seinfeld.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say that really hasn't been said over and over about Seinfeld? It's a show about nothing.
Yep.
But really, it's a show about, the day-to-day lives of some immature goofballs that get stuck in hilarious situations. And it's so fun to laugh with them and at them. And really, I mean, I think it's kind of a show, similar to Friends, but I think Seinfeld does it better. It's about, hanging out with friends, hanging out with friends on a TV show. There's a reason, that it inspired the name of the podcast. For everybody that doesn't know, that's where we get yada yada.
You haven't figured it out by now.
Yep. Yeah, we ripped it off. But yeah, I mean, I think, that's kind of what we're trying to do here, is cultivate a similar vibe to what Seinfeld offers people. And I mean, it's hilarious. Kramer might be the funniest character ever created. I mean, and also George. I mean, and the chemistry between the 4 main characters is great. The recurring list of guest actors is great. I mean, there's really nothing about this show but maybe besides like the last episode, which I know is kind of up for debate, and people debate about the ending, But I mean that's kind of inconsequential for me because it's just so fun to rewatch my favorite episodes of Seinfeld,
Yeah, and this might be maybe something we can talk about in a future episode, but George Costanza is one of my favorite TV characters of all time. Any time he is on the screen, I'm laughing at whatever he's doing.
Yes.
He's so well. I'm not a TV movie guy, but I feel like he's perfect for that role. He plays that role so well.
Yes.
and is just it makes the show what the show is.
And I read an interview, or maybe I listened to it, but I think I read an interview where Larry David, the creator of the show, him and Jerry, I think, are the Jerry Seinfeld, the creators of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But Larry David kind of based a lot of George on him, like his
Really?
inner anxieties and how he felt. And I feel like
Yeah.
if you ever do watch whatever the name of Larry David's spinoff show is, it's just about himself. It's a lot more raunchy, um, but you do kind of get some George peeking through with Larry David. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
George
George.
and Kramer too. Kramer is one of my favorite TV characters of all time too.
Oh yeah, yeah, I love Kramer. It's great. But
Yeah.
yeah, Seinfeld comes in at number 5 for me.
I like it. Number 4.
Number 4 is a pretty new show. It's actually still going on, which makes me surprised that it's so high on my list. But number 4, I have The Bear. Have you seen it?
Ah, I have not tuned into The Bear. I've seen previews and I've seen
Yeah.
commercials and I've seen ads on Hulu, but I have not tuned into it.
I don't think there's ever been a show that I've had to watch the next episode like I have to with The Bear. Like as soon
Interesting.
as it, like I binge the seasons. I mean, as soon as, or I can't remember if they release it all at once or if it's week by week. But I mean, it's when I started watching it, the whole first season was out at least, so I was able to just binge it over and I mean, I
Yeah,
finished it in a night. I think I stayed up all night and just watched every single episode.
yeah,
It was just one where I had to keep going. And it's probably the most. It sounds weird because it's about chefs. It's
yeah.
about cooks in a kitchen making a restaurant.
Hmm.
But it's probably the most intense show that I have on my list, anyways.
Okay.
Definitely the most stressful show while you're watching it. I mean, I'm sweating in the kitchen with these characters as they're doing
Interesting.
stuff. It's crazy, and just the editing alone is so spastic and stressful. It makes you feel like you're in there with like Gordon Ramsay breathing down your neck,
Yeah.
screaming terrible things at you.
Hmm.
But for whatever reason, it's just addicting. Like I can't get enough of it. That being said, I would never want to be a chef after watching
Yeah.
the show. But like it's kind of bled into like anytime I'm cooking, like I can't do anything in the kitchen without saying yes, chef, or or like if I'm walking behind my wife in the kitchen, I'll say behind, or like if the plate's ready to go, I'll say hands.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just one of those things that's bleeding into that stuff. I mean, it's the performances are ridiculously good. You know, it's also a love story similar to Ted Lasso, where it's a love story about a profession in that case about coaching, I think. This is also a love story about being a chef and the trials that come with that and the terrible things that happen to you to get to the top of being like a Michelin star grade, one of the greatest chefs in the world. You have to, like I heard LeBron talking on his podcast, a couple years ago with JJ Redick, talking about how to get to like the point where he did with his taking care of his body, being the best player in the world. He talks about sacrificing his loved ones, and obviously, metaphorically, but he's talking about like you have to put the game in front of everything else to get to that point, and that's what this show makes me feel. You know what I mean? Like these people are putting their craft in front of everything, and you see the toll that it takes on them, but you also see the reward that they get because of it. And, and
Interesting.
and it doesn't, and a lot of the times it doesn't look worth it just because their life is so stressful. But you can see
Yeah.
like for whatever reason they keep coming back to it. And so it's a great show. I never thought I'd enjoy a show about people cooking in a kitchen as much as I did, but it's amazing. I would highly recommend The Bear, and I think it's on Hulu.
Yeah. It is on Hulu. I've seen some clips and some trailers and some ads for it. Um, I've also seen some memes on Twitter and some gifs from the show. So
Hmm.
um, I might have to check that out I'm about to have some time off.
Yeah,
So
got a whole
I gotta
summer.
find a good TV show, and I'm always seriously I'm always looking for a new TV show because here's my issue with, and we'll get to these shows later on, but these shows that are in my top 5, like if I don't find a show that's better or as good as these shows, like I just lose interest. Like I don't. This isn't as good as blank because I don't know why. It's just not. So I don't want to keep watching it.
And I think with TV, a lot of the times that comes down like I think the most important thing for TV show has to be the characters. You know what I mean? Like movies a lot of time can get away with like gimmicks. Like they can get away
Yeah.
with over the top action as like a driving force or like a
Yeah.
crazy intricate plot or spectacle or some kind of groundbreaking, you know, special effects or
Mhm.
just being based on a big brand like Star Wars. Like people are going to go
Yeah.
see that just because of that. But
Yeah.
TV doesn't have that luxury. So if the characters aren't interesting, you know, once that gimmick wears off and you're just left with the characters, if they don't connect with the audience, then, you know, you better believe there's not going to be more seasons of that show. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right. I
So,
agree with that.
yeah.
That's a good way to put it. All right. Number 4 for me. Not much to say on it because you've already covered it, but number 4 is Seinfeld for me. We've kind of talked about it already. George Costanza is one of my favorite. Kramer is one of my favorite. Jerry is probably one of the worst actors I've ever seen in my entire life make it
I
on
think
a
that might be
TV
a hot.
show.
That might be our first hot take on the.
Yeah, he's not a good actor at all. He breaks character in the show, but it doesn't matter because the show is still so good. It's so funny. It's so relatable. I like how they draw in. This is actually Jerry Seinfeld. He's actually a comedian. This is actually what he does.
Right.
It makes it feel like, wait, is this like a true story? Like, is this actually his neighbor and this is actually his best friend? And obviously, it's not. It's a TV show. But when they draw in, you know, the cold takes and they have his stand up routines and at the start and at the end, um, it's just one of those. I mean, it's 2025 and we're still talking about a show that was made in the 1900s, and so that's how you know it's one of those that can be rewatched. And we talked about that in episode 2. These shows have got to be rewatchable
Mm.
if I'm going to be on a desert island. Um, and Seinfeld is one of those. Right now, it's been my go-to rewatchable. Nothing on. I'm just eating dinner and don't have anything to do. Let's turn on an episode of Seinfeld and let's watch it.
Hmm.
So number 4 for me is definitely Seinfeld. Coming in a little bit better than yours. I rank it a
It's a
little bit
little
higher
higher.
than you.
You must.
So
You're a little more true to the spirit of the show, I
yeah,
guess.
I guess I'm a
Talking
bigger
speak.
fan than you. All right, number 3. We've paused about it. We had a little almost mental breakdown about it a second ago.
Ah.
But coming in at number 3 for me is The Office. The Office is by far there's no debate. It's by far my favorite comedic TV show.
I was about to say I don't know what's higher on your list. That's I put that as your number 1.
Yeah,
I don't know what's gonna
you
be
better
next.
get ready. And I'll explain the higher ups.
Yeah.
I can't put a comedy at number 1.
Okay.
Just because my 1 and 2 are so dadgum good. So number 3, The Office. I mean, it's just it's unexplainable. I don't have the words to explain how funny it is to me. How Steve Carell as Michael Scott. Michael Scott is another one, maybe my favorite TV character of all time. He's so dumb and he doesn't realize how dumb he is, but he's also kind at heart and he wants what's best. And his workplace is his family because he doesn't have a family at home. And then you have a love story between Jim and Pam, but then there's also this side kind of bittersweet relationship with Jim and Dwight. And then Dwight and Angela kind of have this relationship. And then you throw in Kevin with his chili and these other random, characters. It's a show that I think, I've read a book. I think it's over here. It's called The Office: An American Workplace. If you've never read it, if you're an Office fan, you need to read it. If you're not, you probably won't care anything about it. But
I should check it out.
The Office: An American Workplace, it goes behind the scenes. It interviews the producers and the writers and some of the actors. And it talks about how the show grows as it goes along. It started out as this copycat TV show that Great Britain did with Ricky Gervais, and how they kind of copied the same thing and did an American one, and then it just exploded. Jim, Michael, Dwight, and Pam, I think, were like the only four um, main characters of the show in season 1, and then by season 9, like there's 10 or 12 different main characters that have different side stories and um, different scenes and things that they do to appeal more people. And so the Office is just, I can't say enough about it, just because it's such a funny show and such a good show. Um, there and it A lot of people I've found don't agree with me. They don't think The Office is funny. I think it's a different type of funny. I think it's a very dry humor, a very wait, did he just say that type humor? Um,
Mhm.
it's not really it's not a sitcom. It doesn't tell you when to laugh. And it's also
Maybe
not.
that's because I've tried to get my wife on board with The Office a few different times, and she just can't do it for whatever reason. Like she doesn't like I'll be sitting there cracking up, and I'll turn to
Yeah,
her, and she's looking at me like, "What are you laughing at?"
yeah.
Like, did you not see Kevin drop his chili?
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, like, oh, he dropped his chili. Like, what's funny about that?
Right.
You have to know the character, and listening to him narrate as he's dropping the chili, like he's saying, like, he works so hard on this little item,
Right.
and it's one of the things he does best, and he's dropping it on the floor. Like, that just shows you how awful he is as a character, like how dumb and
Right. Like a lot of
unsuccessful.
it, yeah,
Like,
it's like laughing at the characters. Like if you
yes,
can't laugh at them, then you're probably not gonna have a good time watching The Office. You know what I
right,
mean?
exactly. And there's so many, like, you have to kind of catch what they're saying. Otherwise you'll miss it, and it's so
Absolutely.
funny to me. So coming in at number 3 for me is The Office.
The Office. Great pick. Had it as an honorable mention. It's kind of reverse for our number threes because The Office was my honorable mention. My number three was one of your honorable mentions, if you can believe it. For my number three, I have True Detective, season one, baby. I mean, and screw all the other seasons. I don't even care. I didn't watch season two or three just because I heard that it's such a drop off in quality that I didn't even want to ruin the experience. And then I did watch season four as it was coming out, just because I was like, "Hey, I'm a fan. Maybe this will tie in a little bit." But each season is completely different. Like there's no overlap. Completely different characters. Maybe some of the themes are kind of the same, but like completely different characters. They don't like it's a one off. If you want to treat it as a one off, in my opinion, I think you can, and that's what I do with True Detective season one. And like you said, I really don't think it gets any better. Like it's probably the most perfect season of television that I've ever seen. And Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson have insane chemistry, as you'd expect. Um, and they're also playing two characters that really they couldn't be. They're both cops, but outside of that need to be a cop, they really couldn't be any different. I mean, from the outside, Matthew McConaughey's character looks like this really introspective, like pessimistic guy, and you kind of throughout the season you kind of peel back the layers as to why he's like that. He's super philosophical. I feel like he's just spitting philosophy every other sentence. And
Yeah,
then of course, Woody Harrelson is just playing just a good old boy. On the outside, he's just a good old boy trying to
yeah,
make a
right.
living, and he's
Yeah,
kind of like the straight character that you follow because if it was just a show full of characters like Matthew McConaughey's where they're just spitting philosophy and crap like that, I feel like it would start to like weigh down on you. Like where's the the anchor here? And I think Woody
yeah,
Harrelson is underrated in that everyone talks about Matthew McConaughey's performance because it's I mean it's amazing. But Woody Harrelson really grounds the show, and he really is like the POV character for the audience. Um, but and then of course that's what they look like on the outside. But if once you start digging in, you kind of realize that they're both broken in a lot of the same ways, and they really do kind of need each other at the end of the day. I won't go into too much of the plot stuff just because it's that's kind of what this whole show revolves around. It's a detective mystery, and so you
Yeah.
get that element of it. You get the great character work that Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are doing. They're also pretty hilarious. There's some scenes that are pretty hilarious with them, but it's also a super heavy show.
Yeah.
There's some grisly murders in here,
Hmm.
a lot of evil stuff going on, and it makes it, like I can't just sit around and watch. Even if I want to, like I couldn't just sit around and watch this just because my wife would be like, "What? Why is this on the background in my TV?" I'm like,
Yeah.
because it's amazing, but also I get it. Like, who wants to see
Yeah.
that when they're just
Hmm.
turning around like, ugh. But it's an amazing season of television. Like, I think it's
Yeah.
actually maybe the most perfect season of television ever made. The only reason it's not higher on the list is because it's it's a one-off season, and I think there are some other shows that work together as like a whole, like over multiple seasons, for my two and my number one. But yeah, I
Yeah.
absolutely love True Detective season one. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much more to say. You said, Matthew McConaughey is just spitting philosophy every other line. I feel like he does that
Yeah,
in life.
and
Like
it's
that's just who
Lincoln
he is as a
commercials.
person. Yeah.
That's a big
Yeah, and his
role.
Lincoln commercials. Yeah. I think I even have a book. Yeah, over there. Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. So I've
I've
even
heard
read
of it.
his book. If you're a Matthew McConaughey fan, you got to knock that one out too.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't disagree with your pick for True Detective season one. I like how you said it's not higher because it is just one season. But I could go back and watch it.
Yeah,
It's not quite as I feel like it's pretty dark. It's kind of an Ozark type dark.
yeah,
It's not quite as dark as Ozark, but it gets pretty heavy at times and
yeah.
pretty serious. And there's some crazy crimes that go on um, in that show. But yeah, it's a great season. It's a great show. I like it. I like that pick.
The great detective mystery. Like, it's one of the few, like, I feel like there's not a whole lot of movies that can kind of like hold, or TV shows that can kind of like hold my attention with a mystery throughout the
Hmm.
entire season like that show does. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
just give you, and the way it's edited together, where it's kind of like Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson telling the story from their present point of view, and then it like
Right.
transitions back in time, and you see little
Yeah.
glimpses of what they're doing in the past.
Yeah.
And it just strings you along. It's edited so well that it kind of just strings you along perfectly to follow the mystery. Just enough tidbits to keep you on the edge of your seat throughout every
Yeah.
episode, and
It's a
pull it
little
off.
bit of Quentin Tarantino vibes.
It does have a
Like
little bit of
they're
a,
kind of
yeah,
going
out of
back and
order.
forth and
Yeah,
telling the story in an out of order type way.
it does.
So yeah, pretty good one. All right, number two.
Number two is a show that it has finished up in the last. I think maybe its last season ran 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. But for my number two, another HBO Max show, I got to go with Succession.
Oh, it's not the HBO Max show. I thought you were going to say
Mm-mm. Have you
Succession.
have you ever heard of and or seen Succession?
I don't think so. I've definitely not seen it. I don't
Yeah.
know if I've heard of it.
Well, it's it's I am a sucker for like in TV show in scripts for TV shows and movies. I'm kind of a sucker for verbal cruelty just because I think it's clever. I'm a sucker for witty, intelligent dialogue, and I really don't think there's a show that does that better than Succession. Like the
Yeah.
script, yeah, like the script, the dialogue is what makes the show sing so much. Like the zingers and the insults are endless, and they're hilarious and they're creative. It's kind of like a, let me see here. It's like, to set it up, the premise, to try to maybe pitch it for you. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's a King Lear type of setup. So you have like a father, the patriarch, He's looking to pass down his legacy. In this case, it's $1 billion multimedia company, right? So he's looking to pass this down to one of his 3 children. And technically there's 4, but there are really 3 that are in the running for CEO. And from there, that's like the basic setup. And from there, basically, all hell breaks loose. There's It's like there's betrayal, backstabbing, Machiavellian maneuvers. For the throne, aka the CEO position. It's like think about it's like Game of Thrones. It's like Game of Thrones in a modern business setting where
Okay.
where the battles are won through business deals instead of, hacking it out with swords on the battlefield. And
Yeah.
almost every character is as like verbally savage as Tyrion Lannister.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
like every character in the show kind of has the wit of Tyrion, and they're all going for the throne, and it's just a business setting, and it's one of the most endlessly entertaining shows that I've ever seen. The twists and turns, keep you on your toes. And even though you get while you're watching it, that you're watching like the most filthy rich, like scummiest pieces of crap in the world businessmen, you can't help but root for the ones that you root for. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're invited into that world, and it's fun to play the game and to pick sides, similar to Game of Thrones in a lot of ways. But again, it's a business setting. But it's one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. It's I think it's my favorite drama. It's definitely my favorite drama show. That's might be a hint for what I have at number 1, but it's my
Yeah.
favorite drama show um, of all time for sure.
Yeah. Well,
So
I just Googled it.
yeah,
Succession. Yeah, I remember you telling me I need to watch this, and obviously I haven't watched it, but I do I do know what it is. I remember it now that I Googled it and looked at it. 4 seasons. Okay. That's
yes.
not that's kind of the perfect length for a show.
And I think it's rare also that like the quality, like it doesn't drop off like so many good shows. I feel like
Yeah.
once you get to the end of the end of it, even like something like Lost, or people give Game of Thrones hard time on those last couple of seasons or last season or whatever, but I feel like it's so consistent throughout all 4 seasons, and
Yeah.
it didn't go too long, it didn't run too short. Like it's just completely consistent. I think it goes out on a high note even, which is a lot more than a lot of my favorite shows can boast. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a great show, and if you're a fan of verbal cruelty or
Yeah.
witty and intelligent dialogue, then give it a go. It's
If you
so
like hearing
quotable.
people insult other people verbally, then
It's
this
great.
is the show for you. um, yeah, it says 2018 is when it first aired, and it just ended in 2023. So you were kind of right on the money there with the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Couple of awards for it. It had the Emmy Award for Outstanding Drama Series for 2024, 2022, and 2020. So 3 there.
There you go. I knew it had
Outstanding
one.
Lead
I didn't know how to
Actor.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, Outstanding Lead Actor twice. And Outstanding Lead Actress in the same year as actor. So if you're a person who follows awards, I'm not one of those people. I think the awards don't mirror what I enjoy at all. But
Right.
a lot of times the awards are kind of, I've never even heard of that movie and they're giving it an award. But if
Yeah.
you're a person who enjoys the awards, it sounds like Succession is the way to go. So I might have to check it out. HBO Max.
Check it out.
All right. Number 2 for me, another HBO Maxer. I'm very interested to see what your number 1 is, because just kind of a side note, because there's 2 that I thought you would have in your top 5 and you haven't mentioned either of them. So I'm really on the edge of my seat here. But you kind of hinted at it in your explanation of Succession. My number 2 is Game of Thrones. I just it's I don't even know how to explain it. For people who haven't watched Game of Thrones, let me give you a little warning. It's based in, I guess, not medieval, but medieval times. But it's also sci-fi ish. There's dragons, and there's magic, and there's
Like
things like
fantasy type stuff.
yeah, fantasy. But Game of Thrones, it kind of reminds me of Avengers, where you have different episodes where you only learn about this character in this episode, and it builds the show because you just learn more about that character. And then the next episode, it's about another character. And then the next episode, it combines the two characters. And so it's kind of like the Avengers, where you have one movie that you watch to learn about this one character, so that when you go and watch the Avengers, you know about every single superhero and every single character, and it makes the movie that much better. But Game of Thrones, I was late onto the scene of Game of Thrones. It came out when I was way too young to watch the show. And so I came onto it during the last season. I didn't start watching the last season, but everybody was kind of talking about it. And so I started season 1 while the last season was going on. And from season 1, it takes a couple of episodes, but by the end of season 1, you're like, whoa, I did not expect that to happen. Let's see what happens in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to give spoilers away or anything like that, but it's one of the main characters dies early on, and that doesn't happen very often. And I was not expecting it to happen. I was thinking, all right, here he is. He's about to die. Something's going to happen. He's going to live. And nope, that doesn't happen. He's gone. And that kind of, to be honest, that kind of sets the precedence for the next 7 seasons of the show. Like, it's based on this one event, for the most part. And
it also makes you realize, like, oh shoot, like the rest of these characters are not safe. They could they could all die at any point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it keeps you on the edge of your seat. And I don't think I'm going to face very much backlash saying that Game of Thrones is top 5. Well, top 2 for me. Because it is one of the most popular shows of all time, I think.
Definitely.
For many different reasons. You did mention in your kind of Succession description that the end of Game of Thrones isn't the best. I agree with that, but I also disagree, because I think it ended exactly the way it should end. Because I'm just going to give some spoilers. I think the dragons do rule all. And so I think Daenerys, it ended exactly the way. It wasn't a happy ending at all, in my opinion.
Right.
But it ended the way that, like, you're not going to stop this dragon. You're not going to stop Daenerys and her dragons, and whether you want to or not. Yeah, it didn't have a happy ending, and Jon Snow didn't win, and Bran was the king at the end. Like, what the heck? This dude in the wheelchair is the king? Like, that's not your typical stereotypical type show, but I feel like that's the way it should have ended. It's not the way we probably wanted it to.
And also to be fair, like all of the people out there that didn't like the ending, you know what I mean? Like, even if you don't like the ending, I still think you can't blame the showrunners for that ending, because they didn't have any books to go on at that point. And they still don't. Like, the book still isn't out to finish Game of Thrones. I think there's still 2 that need to come out, and I don't even know if they will by the time the author, by the time he passes away. I mean, hopefully he doesn't. Stay healthy, George. But but I don't know if that'll happen, and I don't blame I don't blame the showrunners at all. And I don't think any fan should, for the way if they don't.
And that's another thing I didn't say. It is based on a book. I'm actually reading almost. It's a long one, let me tell you, but I'm almost done with the first one. It's actually called Game of Thrones. The second one is that yellow one right there, War of Kings or something like that.
I got you.
So it's the second book in the series. But yeah, there is no, and the author has come out and said, like, I want to do it right when I do it, and well, the show's done, dude. Like,
yeah.
either say you're going to do it and actually do it, or just say, hey, sorry, like I don't
Right.
have anything else for you.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, number 2 for me, Game of Thrones. I don't think there's a lot of backlash there.
No.
But it's one of those shows that I could rewatch and have rewatched multiple times. The storytelling, the action, the love stories, the plot twists, the characters, everything about the show is just so good. And a lot of people get turned away from the show because it's swords and dragons and nerdy, and like, you got to get over yourself because the show is so good if you can get past all that stuff.
That's just the decor, you know what I mean? The decoration.
Yeah,
and
then it's just the setting, like
Yeah.
the set, like it has nothing to do with that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
So anyway, number 2 for me, Game of Thrones. All right, so number 1, let me tell you, this is a show that I have watched multiple times, probably will watch again. And then when I'm done with it, I'll probably watch it another time. It's so good. I think I relate to it a little bit just because of my career choices.
I think
but I was late on the scene as well. It's one of those shows that I remember it being talked about when I was a kid. And I'm like, I'm not going to watch that. I have no interest in that whatsoever.
Right.
But obviously when I got older, it's on Netflix now. So I binged it quick. I mean, it was one of those that was quick for me. But number 1 for me, and I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of, backlash on this one either, but number 1 for me is Breaking Bad. It's just, I can't. 1 and 2 is hard for me, but number 1, Breaking Bad, it's Bryan Cranston is so good at what he does. I'm just at a loss for words because it is such a good show. And he is a teacher. I'm a teacher. Doesn't make a whole lot of money. Gets cancer. Can't pay for the cancer, and so he's a super smart dude, scientist, and starts making drugs and sells it and gets caught up way too deep into what he wants to get caught up into. And his character kind of shifts as the show goes on, and he almost kind of turns into the bad guy. Yeah. And he's got a family, and he's a science teacher, like he's a public school teacher and the best part is his brother-in-law is a DEA agent, and they live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is like drug haven of the United States almost, other than like El Paso. And so it's an all-around good show. The characters are good, the storyline's good, the plot twists are good. The only downside, I guess, I just can't stand his wife whatsoever. She's, like we talked about earlier, my favorite TV characters of all time. She's probably my least favorite character TV show of all time.
That's fair.
Because she's so annoying. But she plays the character well. I mean, she's a mom, and she wants what's best for her kids, and her husband's making drugs and in an RV with a delinquent student that he used to have, and
that's what's great. Like you get so caught up in Walter White, like you get so on his side while he's like, you're like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Go make that crystal meth, and then all of a sudden you're like against the wife. Like, why are you yelling at him? Look, do you see all this? Do you see this pile of money over here that he just made?
Yeah.
And then like you have to take a step back and realize like, oh, like think about what she's going through. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Right.
It's in a show about a high school science teacher turning into a meth creator should not be as entertaining as it is. But
yeah,
it's insane. It's great. And
it's a good one.
Great show.
It dives into also like it. I think his brother-in-law being that DEA agent makes it that much better, because his brother-in-law is trying to find who this guy is, who this Heisenberg is the entire show. And little does he know, it's right under his nose the entire time. And once he figures it out, it's just like the light bulb clicks and all the things come together. And
Hmm.
um, it it doesn't have the best ending in my opinion, but kind of like Game of Thrones, it ended the way I thought this should probably end. It's so good. It's got spinoffs. It's got El Camino, the movie.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's got that. It's got what's the Saul
So
TV
Better Call
show?
Saul. Yeah.
Yeah, Better Call Saul. That's another great character cast. Better Call Saul, and then like people visit Albuquerque. Like I don't know if have you ever been to Albuquerque before?
I've been one time, yeah, for a balloon festival.
Yeah, that's I
Balloon.
went for that too.
Yeah.
So anyway, this isn't his house is actually in Albuquerque in the show, and because it's so popular, like the owner of this house has put up fences and caution signs and like
Wow.
no trespassing signs, and because so many people came to visit this attraction and take pictures, and they were in their lawn and knocking on the door, and this lady had finally had enough. And so the home in real life doesn't really look a whole lot like the home in the show anymore, just because it's changed so much. But it's so popular, people are going. It's almost a tourist attraction, and so number one for me is Breaking Bad. I can't find another show better than that, and that's kind of what I was hinting at earlier. That's why it's hard to find a show to watch
Hmm.
because this isn't as good as Breaking Bad. This isn't as good as Game of Thrones.
Right.
So why I don't want to keep watching this because I can just go rewatch Breaking Bad,
Mhm.
and it's just so good that I would love to do that.
Right.
So anyway, number one for me, um, Breaking Bad.
That's a great pick. Definitely won't get any backlash on that from the chat. It should have been in my honorable mentions because I've seen it once all the way through and I did love it. It's just not one that I the only reason it's not on my list is just because it's not one that I've gone back to since then. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
loved it. It was great when I first watched it. I haven't found myself wanting to rewatch it. That's the only reason.
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, go ahead and go to Netflix and rewatch it.
But yeah, great pick there. My number one is it's my favorite TV show of all time. It probably will continue to be until the day that I die. I just love hanging out with these characters. Um, it's it's absolutely hilarious. Um, and my number one is Psych.
Ooh, I was
Psych.
not expecting that.
I I am I am a
That's a
s- I'm a
twist.
psycho. Shout out to all the psychos in the chat out there. That's what we call ourselves. Big fans of Psych. But yeah, I mean, James Rode Rodriguez and Dule Hill as Sean and Gus, the two main characters, Sean and Gus. They're my favorite comedic duo of all time across film and television
Wow,
and books and everything. That
that's
might be a hot
big.
take, Chet.
Yeah.
But but yeah, no, I mean they're my favorite comedic duo of all time. If there were any characters where I could like spend a day with them or spend an episode with them, it would be Sean and Gus getting into some kind of crazy mystery. It's like Scooby Doo for adults a little bit.
Okay.
This show is like Scooby Doo for adults. There's a gang. I mean, they're all cops, but Sean and Gus are. Sean's a psychic detective, is what he advertises himself as. Of course, he's not psychic. He has a photographic memory. His dad was a cop. He taught him how to solve crimes from the time he was a little kid. He's great at doing it, but he's such a child. He's such like a man. Like it's like Step Brothers if he was a genius sort of.
Okay.
Like he's such a man child that no one takes him seriously, but he also is smart enough to solve all these crimes by himself, while he's half awake, something like that. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
and his best friend from the time they were kids, his name's Gus, and he he's kind of like Jerry's George. Like he's their comedic timing is so great. And Gus by far probably makes me laugh the most. The core cast of characters, they I've been watching it since I was a kid, and they feel the most like a family outside of my real family, like this feels like the most family to me. You know what I mean? Watching a
Yeah.
show feels like a family. They get on each other's last nerves, similar to The Office, something like that. Except for at the end of the day, they all love each other, and they're all in law enforcement, so there's that underpinning thing of like they would all do anything to protect each other as well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, it feels like a family. In um, there's an insane amount of pop culture references, which is something I'm a fan of because I
Right.
basically get every single one of them. Or if I don't, I'll just research it real quick. But most
Yeah.
of the ones I get, they do make me laugh and they fly over everybody else's head, especially my wife's.
Yeah.
But there's a crazy list of cameos. I mean, like the whole cast of The Breakfast Club at some point has been in this. John Cena, Val Kilmer. I mean,
Ooh.
there's a crazy amount. There's another. Oh, Freddie Prinze Jr. Speaking of Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a insane amount of pop culture cameos. What's the guy from Princess Bride? He's in it. But it's my favorite theme song of any show. We haven't talked about theme songs yet.
Ooh.
It's definitely my favorite theme song of any show there's been. I could just listen to it on the radio.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, if I could hang out with any TV show characters for a day or for an episode, I would definitely pick Sean and Gus. It's just so much fun watching them get in hilarious situations, and also it's so satisfying knowing that or watching Sean kind of be the smartest guy in the room, even though he's a man child, and it's
Yeah.
it's great. I love Sean and Gus. I love Psych. It's my favorite show ever.
Interesting. I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
Uh, I kind of thought you'd have, you didn't mention Lost. I thought Lost would be in there.
did not mention Lost.
You
Yeah.
didn't mention Game of Thrones. You didn't mention Breaking Bad. So that was a little. I also thought Sons of Anarchy might be in there.
Yeah,
Um, and so
Sons and Breaking Bad. I watched at the same time. I was really
yeah,
late to the party on Game of Thrones, kind of like you. But Sons and Breaking Bad, I watched at the same time, and it was like right when I was finishing high school. I was like 18, 19, watching those shows, and at the time they were probably if you would ask me then, they were definitely my favorite shows of all time.
yeah,
I think since then I just haven't gone back to them for whatever reason. So
yeah,
it's just one of those things where time has changed my taste, I guess.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but one thing that time has not knocked off is Psych. It's really the only
Psych.
one from my childhood, outside of Seinfeld, which I watched in the background as a kid because my parents liked it, but I didn't like actually
Yeah,
watch it for myself until I was an adult. But really, Psych's the only one from my childhood that continues to be a constant there. It's like Psych and Star Wars. Those are the
yeah,
those are the things I got with me, that kind of haven't changed as I gotten older. So
yeah. Well, there you go.
that's it.
Psych as the number one
Psych.
for the film and TV expert of the two of us. So if you haven't watched Psych, maybe I need to go in and I think I've tried Psych.
Yeah.
Um, and I probably was just like, I'll just turn it on and see what happens, and
Yeah.
wasn't really paying attention. And
It's a
but maybe
weird.
I need to actually sit down and watch it.
Yeah, it's hard to recommend to people because I don't know, like it's like trying to recommend The Office to people. Like, what do you really say? Like
Yeah,
they either have to get it or they don't. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
they'll just
yeah,
have to, if they don't connect with the characters, like I was saying earlier. If they don't connect with the characters, then that's it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So if you finish the first season and it's not for you, then that's fine. But
yeah.
it was definitely for me. I love Psych.
There you
What
go.
is?
Well, it's your own desert island. It's your own 5 shows.
That's right.
You get to bring whatever you want. So if Psych is your show, then you can be a psycho. Um, all right. Well, there you have it for episode 4 of Yada Yada. If you haven't noticed yet, we've got 3 episodes out. We talk about a lot of different things.
We do.
That's kind of the point of the podcast.
Yeah.
We've covered the NBA. We've covered escaping inmates. We talked about nurses.
Getting hit by
We've
golf
talked about a
ball.
lot of things. Yeah, I got hit by a golf ball. We talked about Yellowstone, and so share the pod, subscribe to the pod, like the pod.
Yeah, we're on Spotify and Apple at this point.
Spotify and Apple as of right now, until we get kicked off for some reason. There are other yada yada podcasts out there, so make sure you find our logo.
Right. Got the
and
retro
find
Mavs
us.
colors.
Yep, go Mavs. Recovering MFFLs.
Yep.
And so we talked about that a little bit in episode 3. So make sure you watch and listen episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Quick tidbit. I forgot one more little thing from my Yellowstone trip. At the very end of the trip, I'm in an airport in Bozeman. This could be the outro. I'm at an airport in Bozeman, Montana, and this guy comes in, and he's these two old dudes. They look like they might be in their 70s or something, and they're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. I'm like, okay, cool. So I kind of listen in on the conversation, snooping a little bit. And this one guy's like, yeah, I was a big fan of yours back in the day. And I'm like, whoa, okay, maybe this guy played for the Cowboys. Anyway, turns out he sure did. He played with Roger Staubach. And the only reason I know this is because I Googled just about every player that played with Roger Staubach until I found a guy that looked like him. But his name was let me make sure I have it here. I think it's Cliff something. Cliff Harris. That's what it was. Cliff Harris. So he's a Hall of Famer, by the way.
Well,
I ran into a Dallas Cowboys Hall of Famer today in Montana.
There you go.
And now I'm back in Texas.
We got to have him on the pod at some point.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cliff, if you're listening to this,
I know you got some good Roger Staubach stories from behind the scenes, man.
Come on and join the pod. Tell us some Staubach stories. One of the greatest Cowboys, if not greatest Dallas athlete of all time. So come on the pod and join us. I'm sure all you oldies out there are laughing at us. We don't know who Cliff Harris is. Sorry, but we don't. We were born this century, just about, and so you can't hold it against us. But all right, that's a good little outro there. We're about to reach our time limit again, for the amount of time we can talk. So as you can see, we're true to our name. There's a lot of yada yada that goes on. But tell your friends, tell your family, subscribe, like, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Peace.